Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter via Deckler muss es die kleine Fahrt beim Top. Geht mir kein Sach nicht, die Tropfen.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold, and this week we have part 2 of my conversation with Brian Posehn, who, I mean, what a fucking life. I hope you listened to part 1 because it's unreal. What a great guy. Just great guy. So part 2 is full of more gems. Also want to say, thinking about the people in Turkey who, I just can't believe this earthquake. It's awful. So thinking about those people, also thinking about, the people I hate, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the usual Lauren Boebert. I hate Ted Cruz so much. It was so much better when he was out because his daughter hates him. But whatever, they're all back. George Santos, don't even fucking get me started. I also want to say I performed this past weekend in Avenel, New Jersey, which is right by where I grew up. And it was a packed house, and it was so fun. The Avenel Performing Arts Center is great. So thank you, everyone who came. Yes, I did see some people from high school who... Most of them were very nice to me during my high school years, so that was nice. And, oh, this is funny. So I called up my sister, and I was like, are you coming to my show? And it was that night when it was really, really cold. And she said, no, it's really cold out. And I said, oh, that's great. Because, if you were performing by me, I would go and see you even if it was cold out. And she said, well, you never came to see me do a filing. She worked in an insurance company. And, that's the big joke. You never come see me do a filing, but she's retired now. So I was so mad, and I call up Elisa, and then I call up my friend Robin Luann, and I'm like, I can't believe it. My family's so unsupportive, and blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting backstage with John Fish, and we're just chit-chatting before the show, and the stage manager comes in and says, your sister's at the door with a cup of coffee? And I'm like, what? And I open the door, and there's my sister and my niece. Okay, so I'm an asshole. All right, so my family is supportive. Fuck it. So that's that. So I had that, and I want you to know rehearsals today was out. Well, this is airing on Tuesday, but Monday was the first rehearsal for Yes, I Can Say That. At 59 East 59th Street Theaters. And it was amazing to see the design team. They gave a presentation. The show, go buy tickets to the show. And even if I suck, the art, the scene, the art, what is it called? The fucking, oh, God damn it. The set design. Oh my God. Because I've been in rehearsal all day. The set design is just going to be amazing, and the sound and the lights. But yeah, I'm really excited. I love rehearsing. So that's great. And what else? I don't know. We have a lot of upcoming episodes that are going to be pretty amazing that I think you're going to enjoy, and some surprises. So right now, we have the second half of my interview with Brian, who is just adorable. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy part 2 of my conversation with Brian Posehn. Okay, so you get through fucking high school. Knowing your work, it makes so much sense that you are where you are because of your, consuming words and film and having this fucking shit happen to you. It's at some point you have to be like, I have no control. Like, people live their whole life trying to realize they have no control over anything. And you are getting all of these messages of like, life's short, you know, I can't even imagine what goes on in your fucking brain. So you graduate, and then at 19, your mother kicks you out because you're a fucking asshole. And then you go to the same college your father went to, American River College, and you go into the English and drama department, which is what your father did.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it's another reaching, I think, for your. I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
Well, no, that was definitely on purpose. That was trying to connect with him.
Right.
Even though, you know, because partly I didn't feel that much encouragement from my mom. Luckily, once I started doing stand-up, my mom got behind me. But before that, she didn't know, like, she wanted me to do. She thought I was a smart kid, and I was a smart kid. But so she wanted me to work harder, and I didn't. Right. And she wanted me to go to a regular college, and I didn't have the grades, you know, and I had literally failed a couple of classes. I had failed PE because I hated it so much.
Can you fucking believe that shit? That they would give you a grade in physical education? Like, shut the fuck up.
No, I had to go to summer school to even get out of high school.
Ugh, the worst.
Yeah.
So you go, but in the meantime, you spent like 6 months honing a tight 10-minute set, and you waited to turn 21. Is this right?
Yeah.
And you have your first ever stand-up set at an open mic at Metro Bar and Grill on K Street.
Yeah.
And you and your good friend Glenn, who worked at Steve's Pizza, Rico's Italian Pizza, McDonald's. You had a couple beers before you went on stage, and the first time you went on stage, did you kill?
Yeah, I crushed.
Yeah,
I went on late in the show too, like, because they were like, "You're new, you got to basically close it out."
Right.
And yeah, it went so well.
Do you remember Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. You know, you probably went through the same thing. It was like, holy shit, this is what I'm supposed to do.
It was like a fucking out-of-body experience. I got my first laugh, and I was like, oh my, I'm controlling the laugh. I'm controlling the laughter. I'm in control. I have the power here.
And it gave me more confidence. Like I was so cocky in the beginning too, but I ate my second show. I think I mentioned in the book, I ate it.
Yeah,
and it was the following week, and I went with all new material. So I'd written 5 minutes in 6 months, and then I wrote another 5 minutes in 6 days. Right. And it didn't go as well as the 6 months 5 minute bit. So then I went third week, I went back and told jokes that I told the first time and worked on them and figured out kind of on my own. I didn't have a lot of other comics give me input because we're all in the same place. We're all open micers. And
no one's gonna help you. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months or a year later, I started to meet guys who had a little more experience than me. And then that's how I got other gigs and, started to move around town and actually go to San Francisco. And
I mean, I think that part of my life where...
How old were you, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
I was 19.
But when did you start? Oh, okay, cool.
I was 19.
But how'd you get into a club?
Well, I was in New Jersey, and the drinking age had just turned to 21 from 18. But what happened was they grandfathered people in. So I got grandfathered in at 19. So I could go into bars and stuff in New Jersey.
What year did you graduate? We must be around the same age.
4 years older than you.
Oh,
I mean, I look way younger, but I'm 4 years older than you.
I would never have guessed. You graduated in 80?
80, yeah, 80. And so I was at Rutgers, and someone in Secret Santa dared me to do a set on the floor of our, our dorm, the lounge. And I wrote all this material about everyone. I took 2 days off of classes and just wrote shit about everyone who lived on the floor. And I can still see, I have a picture. I have this picture of me standing there.
Amazing.
And I had a microphone for some reason, and I don't know. It was the weirdest feeling, that first laugh. And then I did a thing at Rutgers, a campus comedy, and it was Adrian Tolsch, Bill Sheft, and Larry Ambrose.
Oh, wow.
Came in from Catch a Rising Star, and I got to do 5 minutes. And they literally they said to me, "You're really funny." And I was like, "Really?" And when a professional comedian tells you that, and I started hanging out at Catch a Rising Star at like 19, 20 years old, and just and I
had a guy in the audience, like when I first started, he goes, "You probably don't know him, but you remind me of Mort Saul." And I was like, "Yes, I know Mort Saul."
Yeah.
Like I was like,
yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. And that was the first compliment. That was the first one from like somebody watching me going, "You should keep doing this."
Yeah.
You know? And then the other comics around me all were like that, because some of them were not that happy at how easily it kind of came for me.
Right.
You know?
But it's all that humiliation. Like, you're fearless. Like, I think people don't realize, like, you can't, at that young age, you can't say anything to me that I haven't heard before.
Oh.
I've already been humiliated. I've already felt like shit. I've already, like, sat in my room for,
No
whatever.
audience was going to make me feel as bad as Eric Johnson in fourth grade did.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you then moved to, first of all, I love that you worked at Tower Records. When I moved to New York, I was 21. Okay. And I had a job, but then I was doing sets at night and trying to whatever. And whenever I accomplished something, my present to myself was to go to Tower Records and get
the one by NYU or?
Oh, no, the one on the Upper West Side.
Oh, okay.
Lincoln Center, the Lincoln Center one.
Right. Yeah.
And I would get stoned and just, and it was no phones. Like, I was, you would just fucking walk there and you would go through all these albums. And I mean, I really feel sad for my kids that they'll never know what it's like to, like, go to a record store, read liner notes,
Oh, for
and
sure.
you're a rap buyer. What the fuck is that?
Well, I was the only kid who knew it, I was already a big fan.
Right.
I had been since, since I had first heard, even though in California we didn't grow up with it like you did, but, and then at a certain point we did when it started to become popular here. But, it was the manager knew I knew my shit. Like, to get hired at Tower, you actually had to take a music test.
Wow, you did?
Yeah. And
You probably aced it.
I did, because I knew about stuff I didn't even care about. Like, I could answer Elvis Costello questions, but I was, into Metallica already and that, stuff. I was,
you talk a lot about, being a metalhead, being a nerd, all of this stuff that you're sort of attracted to, like, it is so loud and sort of not harsh, but just like sort of, I don't know. It feels like a release of fucking tension and anger. And it makes so much sense to me, because you're such a gentle soul, yet you're aiming, you have this desire to just fucking scream. And you're such a layered person, which is,
well, I feel lucky that I found those things. I mean, that I found horror movies and comic books and metal, and they all tapped into this darkness that I had, from life, but also kind of relief from the darkness. Cause my music, the ones I really like in the comic books, kind of showed me there was something else, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you had. I feel like you were living in your head anyway, and then you had these books that were telling stories and you're just so fucking creative. It's amazing. So first of all, I did have a question about growing up in Sonoma or living in Sonoma. Like, did everyone drink wine? Was it like, I mean, we got beer and fucking blueberry brandy and smoked cigarettes at Quick Check. Did you guys all drink wine?
A little bit. We did, like, we stole wine because that was like the easy alcohol to get. Like my buddy lived next door to a winery. So we would literally climb his fence and go and grab a jug of wine. And it was terrible. Like we're drinking red wine in the creek at like age 14 and it was not good. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, so half my friends were wealthy because they ran like the local turkey farm or a winery. And then the other friends were like, my mom worked for the state. So half the kids I knew were not, we weren't poor kids because my mom did have a job, but I was an apartment kid. And then half my friends had like houses and then in high school, a couple of my friends had mansions and up in the hills. So it was a strange place.
Dreaming big.
Yeah, it was a strange place to kind of grow up.
Right.
And how touristy it was too. Like people would come to that town. Like they were shooting movies there. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
You said that when you started, that you admired comics like Sam Kinison, which makes a lot of sense, Eddie Murphy, but that you were put off by their misogyny and homophobia.
Yeah.
Do you think that you were more sensitive to that? Well, I mean, obviously because you're a babysitter, right?
Well, and also I took away from my mom. For the negative things I got from my mom, she was a feminist, obviously. Right. Being a single mom in the 70s, you kind of had to be. And then where we were, and like I remember my first time smelling pot was at her friend's house and they're all talking about Nixon and what a crook he was. And so I grew up in this cool time, but and all her friends were hippies. So I got messages from them, that's the way you treat people. And,
also,
and I had a gay friend in high school who, yeah, my closest friend.
Out with you? Came out to you?
Yeah. And
so much. We would have been best friends.
Yeah, no, I had that dude's back to death. I was like,
oh, Bri. Okay. So, in 1991, you move in to an apartment with Patton Oswalt. Was that right?
Yeah.
And how did you meet Patton?
He came to town from the East Coast and was doing sets around San Francisco.
Right.
And I saw him like at the Punchline and the Improv. And then we really hooked up at this pizza place. I wish I could remember the name, but he would, because he didn't smoke as much pot as I have. But we met at this place, him and Blaine Capatch. They both came out together. Do you know Blaine?
No.
Blaine is a guy, an East Coast guy too, but now has been out here forever. But you have friends that are joke machines that are just like, he's one of those guys, like, and he was when we were kids. And we all three became friends because we were all into stand-up, but all kind of geeky and we all liked the same stuff. And so Patton and I really found out when we were in the San Francisco competition together and then the Seattle competition.
That was notorious. Like even on the East Coast, it was like people would come and know I won I came in second at the San Francisco.
Yeah.
I always hate it. I hate comedy competitions because it's so subjective and it's like, I don't know.
It was the worst, but we had a good attitude about it. And the other comics hated us for it because we were like, this thing doesn't matter.
Right.
Let's just have the best sets we can. Let's have fun. And so he and I would do shit to make each other laugh in the competition where, he threw water on his head as soon as he opened up. He, like, the first joke out of his mouth, he just pours water on his head, and people were shocked. And then he had to dig himself out of it.
Right.
And then I would do, like, I told a joke that tanked on purpose.
Right.
Just so I could dig myself out of it. And the other comics are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like,
I've been obsessing over my set for this.
Yeah. And then you guys are fucking around. Like, how dare you? And I actually had a guy tell me to take it seriously. He goes, it's a comedy competition. You got to take it seriously. And me and Patton were like, ha, 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 you know. But I think maybe tells why we worked out. Our careers worked out and theirs didn't. Like, the guys that yelled at us, I couldn't even tell you, you know, what they're up to.
So you would write sketches with him. And then you moved down to LA, and you were friends with David Cross, right? And you're hanging out, and he introduced you to Bob Odenkirk, and you guys.
I met the cool kids. I don't know what else to say.
So
like,
I'm so happy because fucking shit you're coming from. And, so you meet Bob, and you get cast as an actor, right? And then they start asking your opinion on the writing.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. Wait, they want to know my opinion. I mean, were you nervous at that point, or like?
No, because I had a little, like, I had this fake confidence because I was doing well, and and my sketches were liked by my friends when I showed them to them. So, no, that was, I finally thought I had something I could do. Like, I really did have confidence about it, because in the beginning of Mr. Show, I was kind of a dick in the room because...
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, were you an asshole?
I thought I was the third funniest in the room. Right. You know, I was like, Bob and David are the funniest, but I'm funnier than these other fuckers. Right. You know, who were my friends. But I just thought I was good at it too. I was good at writing sketch. And I mean, the fact that I got... You know, I got so many sketches on in those first couple of seasons, and a lot of them we did have to rewrite, but I just was pretty prolific. And so I was like, this is definitely, stand-up was what I was supposed to do. And this is also a big part of it.
Who else was in the writer's room?
Paul F. Tompkins.
Sarah.
Jay Johnson. No, we never hired Sarah.
In the writer's room. Wow. Okay.
Sarah's stuff that she turned in, she didn't 100%. I mean, she was funnier than the stuff she turned in. So, and then Patton tried and didn't get hired, but he wound up at Mad TV with my friend Blaine. And, but then we had later on, Scott Aukerman came on, but it was a small staff. I mean, it was only just a handful of us.
It was like so hard for women then. I remember.
Well, we would have hired it. It was all friends. Right. We would have hired any of our female friends if they turned in enough good stuff, and they didn't. We went to Karen Kilgariff too. So, and they wound up being in sketches.
They were actors.
But we were never the guys that like, girls aren't funny, because my friends were funny. Like, I was already friends with Janine Garofalo and Laura Keitlinger. So I was like,
oh no, I know
that never even came into my head.
Yeah,
you know,
no, you were never like that. I know, but we know who was. But so you have this newfound confidence, and you also have this sort of, oh my God, there's other people who are fucking weirdos like me, and they're successful, and they have crazy thoughts, and they put them to paper. I mean, this must have been like sort of redemption, or some sort of like, oh my God.
I felt so cool in the beginning of the 90s in LA, like just with these guys. I was like, this is my little group I'm supposed to be with. And then people like local comics didn't like us. Like, a lot of called us a clique, and, you know, there were a lot of people, you know, more mainstream comics that, like, when it started to be called alternative comedy, that was when other people were like, "Oh, you're an alternative comic," and I was like, "Not really. I already did Evening at the Improv. Bud Friedman's already, loves me, so no, I don't think so."
Now, I had a similar experience because I was a mainstream comic, and then I was I was working the mainstream clubs when I came out, but I was never I wasn't like the other like I was different in a way, but they wouldn't let me be in the alternative. I was like, can I please do on camera? I tell stories. I don't tell, and they're like, no, you tell too many jokes. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a fucking freak. Like, please. And
I got that here. I got that from Uncab too, but
yeah. But now I do it. Now I do it, which is, I'm like, okay, it took me 30 fucking years, but.
But for me, it was also all my friends were alternative comics. So I was already in,
Right.
The woman who ran on Cabaret kind of couldn't keep me down.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. So, all right. So you get to this point where you're so confident and you're like, fuck you, I'm in a clique, whatever. Did you ever get your bubble burst after that, where it was like, come on down from this?
No, I mean, there would just be times where it was a little harder to find a gig,
Right.
Like I got cast in all those 90s sitcoms and then I didn't, in the 2000s for a little while. There was some, so there were periods where things would slow down for me, definitely. But it wasn't like my confidence wasn't rebuffed or in any
Right.
way, I knew. And I always thought, like, I don't look at anybody else and the gigs they get and think that that's like could have been mine.
Right.
I always thought I have a spot and I'm lucky, and if I work hard, I'll get other things from that. And so I never was like mad at something else or something one of my friends got, because I was just like, well, that wasn't for me.
Right. Well, it's interesting to hear you say that, because it took me a while. I mean, for the women, it was so different because they would only choose one woman. So they sort of made you. They sort of created this system where it's like, it's only going to be one of you. Who's it going to be? And you're like supposed to be catfighting. And I realized that no, that's just going to destroy us. So I was like, I'm not right. You have to learn. Not right for that. Good for her. She gets better. She gets more shit. It's better for women overall. But, I really always felt in the 90s sort of jealous of there were a lot of cliques like that of guys who one would get a TV show and then bring all their friends to be writers and producers, and women didn't get those opportunities. So
right, but you were still hanging out with those guys in the cellar, right? I mean, that's how I met you. Was yeah.
I love them, but I was like one of the guys because I literally started. I was young, but I wanted to be a great comic. Like that was I was literally. I want to be a great comic, and I think they respected me because I didn't want to fuck them. I just wanted to be funny. And I love all of them to this day. And I don't know if the comedy community is like that anymore.
No, I don't know.
The young comics. I don't know if they're...
Well, they're all doing fentanyl together.
Right. Yeah. And doing viral videos and then going to a club and going, wait, I have to do how long?
Yeah.
This week's episode of It's Judy's Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to betterhelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is gratitude month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
So you met your wife. You're married at this point. Now you're married. You have a son. First of all, you married someone 5'3", and I just want to tell you, I wrote this down.
5'3". 5'1" if she's lucky.
Oh yeah, you said she's 5'3", but she said she's 5'3".
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, there are two things I have to talk to you about. Number one, my son is 6'8", and he plays college basketball, and I had to watch this kid who's athletic, smart, handsome. I had to watch like a perfect specimen. He was chunky as a kid, so he was, he hated his body. But I had to watch like the complete opposite experience I had, being a tall, dorky music nerd, fucking, whatever. And I watched him, and all I would say to my kids all the time is, dude, if someone's getting bullied, you fucking defend them. And they're all like, Mommy, we go to school in New York. No one cares. No one cares. No one bullies anyone. But do you say anything like that to your son? And do you think he's going to be tall?
He's already tall. Yeah, he's 13, and he's he passed my wife a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Wow.
He's 5'8" now, I think. But skinny like I was, and into all the same stuff as me, but it's a different time,
right?
Like geeks aren't, that's not a thing. It's not a negative thing like it was. So, and he goes to a private school where there's, absolutely no bullying.
Right.
But he would be defending kids because that's already the way he is.
Yeah. I love that. I just want you to know that my son's been playing basketball forever and AAU and all this shit, and now he's plays college. But all the coaches, when he was being recruited, asked how tall the mother is. FYI.
Huh.
That's right. Mm-hmm. They all, and I go to these games and I'm like, oh my God, that woman's really tall, and I want to be the fucking tallest. It's like now I want to be the tallest one again. Now I'm shrinking.
Are you 6 or 6'1"?
I was 6'3". And
6'3".
I got down to 6'2". I think I'm like 6'1.5", 6'2" now. But I really I had a knee replacement. I have to get the other one replaced, and then I might get a little comfortable.
Do you still get happy when you walk into a room and there's another tall person?
Yeah, I want to go, hey, yeah. It's sort of like this winky thing. You know what I mean? Like you're like,
yeah.
You.
The special I just recorded, the makeup woman was 6'4".
No way.
Which is so rare, for me to get somebody that we're almost eye to eye.
Right.
And I was like, hey, how's it going?
I know. And it's so weird being at party. Like, people don't understand, you're at a party, you can't hear a fucking thing anyone's saying because they're all like 5 feet tall.
Right.
And you have to bend it. It's awful. Your new special is Posehn Non Grata, which is a fucking great. Is it Posehna Non Grata?
Posehna Non Grata, yeah. I love puns.
I know, I love it. And of course, your book, I forever nerdy, living my dorky dreams and staying metal. I fucking love it. Okay, so now you have a wife and a child. You're successful. Do you want to just keep going? You've achieved so much success. Do you get recognized everywhere you go?
Yeah, not at home so much.
Right.
Not too many people in the Valley bug me, but yeah, I mean, I was just where my wife grew up. She grew up in a small town in Central California, and people freak out. Like I'm at the McDonald's, and this dude's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like,
do you ever get on stage? I don't know if this ever happens to you. This happens to me. I'll get off stage and people will say, "Oh, you are that tall." I'm like I'm fucking lying. Like I just made it up for my act. You fucking
yeah. Oh yeah.
I know you have frustration and rage. I don't know. Where did the rage go? I still have rage and anger. And I hate people for the most part, and yet I love people for the most part. Your comedy is not angry.
Right. Well, I try to keep the things that I get angry about out of my comedy. Like I don't talk about politics or religion much in my act because it is something that means so much to me. And I will lose half the audience because I have certain beliefs.
Right.
And so when I do tackle those topics, I always try to come from a more open and kind of just try to twist the hierarchy or the way things are and try to find another angle. That's always. I
get so angry. I wish.
And then as far as making fun of other people, that's not a thing that I like. Right. So, I mean, my act did become more self-deprecating. Well, you would think, I mean, and I can be meaner than anybody because I am smarter than most of the people that picked on me. Right. But I pull back. I don't want to make anybody sad or, that's not what I'm trying to do out there. So
I don't either. I want to make people laugh at themselves. But then sometimes I see a video, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so annoying. Like I can't, but I get so worked up about stuff. And I just think, I don't know, whatever. Okay, before we end, which I could talk to you forever and I really want to do, I wish we could fucking be a fucking married couple. I don't understand.
Who do we know who's currently running some shows? I mean, I agree.
Couple with a star athlete son, and we're the fucking nerdiest
No, we talked about this at Tough Crowd years ago. And I never told you this, but one of my first specs was for All American Girl.
No way.
Yeah, and I wrote This You'll Love. I wrote you into the tall club. So I wrote for you because you were the tall girl on the show. So I was like, I can use my mom's stuff here. Right. So I had you go on a blind date with a tall guy, and there was all this tall guy stuff, and that you didn't even want to be with a tall guy, but at any rate,
I love that.
That was you were my A story. And then my B story was Margaret, the star of the show.
I love you.
Yeah. Do people know? Yeah, you were on the Margaret Show sitcom for people that aren't.
We just found.
And she was a really close friend of mine. And so she asked me, she goes, hey, the first season, I wrote some jokes for her. But she was like, write a spec. And so I did.
Well, the writing on that show was not good. But I got
except for the Quentin Tarantino episode.
Yeah, the Quentin Tarantino episode was hilarious.
That's insane. Like people don't even know that. So he loved her. He was really into her, and wrote an episode for her show that no one remembers.
I remember. And you know what we did one day? So it was his episode, and he was in it. And then the director, we all said, let's come in a half hour early. And when the director walks in, we'll have Quentin sitting in the director's seat, and he'll walk in and see Quentin trying to take over. And we totally fucking ripped on the director. It was hilarious, but he didn't think it was that funny.
I'm sure.
Like, okay. I always ask my podcast guests 2 questions. First of all, what do you do for your mental health?
Right now, nothing, but I should be back in therapy. I have a great therapist until she retires.
Did you stop therapy?
I'm currently not seeing her now. Yeah, I stopped.
For how long? I do that too.
It's been since my mom passed. I had some issues when my mom passed, and so we were talking then, but it's been like more than or close to 3 years now.
Well, are you going to go back after this podcast?
I mean, there's definitely things will come up, and I'll turn to my wife and go, I should go back to therapy.
Yeah. You can take a break. You've been going since you're fucking 5 or 6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I call the podcast Kill Me Now because, as I just explained, I get aggravated at everything. So I want to know what pisses you off more than anything in the entire fucking world. That makes you crazy mad, but it could be anything.
But not political things, but usually, but hecklers still.
Oh, they fucking annoy the fucking shit out of me.
People that just don't know the rules in a comedy club. It still drives me insane.
It's getting worse and worse. The thing is that I used to be like, go ahead, heckle me, because I'll fucking rip you a new asshole, which is my forte since, again, my childhood. So my mother, I ignored everyone, but in my head, I was like, I had these little comebacks, but I never said them. So now I can say them. But now literally when someone heckles, I'm like, go. You know what? I've been doing this too fucking long. No. Leave. Like, why do you have to come here and fucking ruin my life?
Also, like when you're the headliner, you're like, do research.
Right.
Decide if you like me or not at home. Like, don't fucking do it here. Right. Like, go redo this in the future. I've talked with other comics about this because I don't think I would go to comedy clubs if I didn't do comedy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a thing that I would go, hey, I want to just hear some random person talk for an hour. Like, would I go to see a certain comedian? Yes. But a lot of comedy clubs exist of, like you play places like Zanies in Chicago and they're like, we don't care who's here.
Right.
We're always sold out. It doesn't matter who the headliner is. We're always sold out. And I don't understand that. Like you know what I mean? Like I would never just walk up to a bright sign that says comedy and go, hope I like this comedy.
Yeah. I mean, that happens in New York. You go in and you don't know who the fuck's going to be on the show.
No, and I just can't even get my head into, I can't even understand what they're doing there. Like, what did you want? Like,
I look around at the audience sometimes and I'm like, what is your life? Like, I always am like you went out to dinner and then this is the big thing of your whole week. You know what I mean?
Like my fans, I understand. Yeah. Like comedy nerds, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Of course you should be here. But anybody else, I'm like, why are your arms crossed?
Right.
Fuck off. Like, you shouldn't even be here. You should have made better choices tonight. Or when I see pretty people, like a really beautiful couple, it's like, go salsa dancing.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck in your car. Just fucking quit making me feel terrible about when I'm just trying to do my job.
And then you look at them and they all think they can do what you do. Like they have no fucking clue how hard it is to do what we do. Everyone thinks they can tell a fucking joke. Well, you can't tell a fucking joke, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. For 35 years or whatever too.
Brian, I hope where can first of all watch Brian's new special, Posehn Non Grata. Get his book. It came out. When did it come out? Like in 2018?
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Forever nerdy, living my dorky dreams and staying metal. What else? Where else can we see you?
BrianPosehn.com has all my stuff, but I have a ton of comic books coming out that
I know. I love that.
I got real busy during COVID because I was sitting here and
Right.
in the nerd cave I'm in right now, and just I have to be busy. Like
I'm the same way. Hype ADDDDDDD.
yeah.
What about that?
I needed a break from stand up. It actually worked out. Like I needed to not travel for a little while, but I was
busy.
going insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you into pinball and stuff? Because
yeah.
I would go in college. I was the only woman in the fucking game room. Fucking nerd, Pac-Man, Atari, pinball.
Yeah. The one behind me, I wrote all the dialogue for it.
Way.
Yeah. So it's a Deadpool pinball machine, and I
fucking love you.
Yeah.
Brian, I can't thank you enough for doing my show. I really, before I die, can we please do something together?
Yeah, I feel like if we lived close, we'd have coffee or go to sushi or whatever. Yeah, it sucks you're on the other coast, but
I know. But, we could walk in and everyone could stare at us. And I'm great. Thank you so much for listening to Kill Me Now with Brian Posehn. How fucking great was he, huh? What a life. You should be grateful for everything you have. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast and my life would not be possible without the help of Brittany Jo Sowards Richmond. If you have not subscribed and left a review, really? I mean, seriously. I know I say this every week, but it's fucking annoying. Please, I need 5 stars. I also, by the way, speaking of 5 stars, I was in Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago, and I got an Uber, and then, it took forever because I have a fucking 4.49. And then I was like, why do you think I have a 4.49 to the driver? And they're like, well, you get that if you cancel a lot. I'm like, I cancel a lot because you fucking people say you're on your way and then you cancel or you make a weird turn, whatever. So I have a shitty Uber score and I really want to get it up. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Also, if you have not bought tickets to my show at 59 East 59, E59, which is at 59 East 59th Street. The theaters are amazing. Please, there's a link in my bio. It's called Yes, I Can Say That. And my book that it's based on is Yes, I Can Say That When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble. Because we are. So you can read the book and then see the book come to life. It is directed by B.D. Wong. I wrote it with my friend Eddie Sarfati. It's such a great team. Primary Stages, Jamie DeRoy. There's so many great producers, and I'm just thrilled. So I'm really excited. So please, link in my bio for tickets. Oh, yeah, so you have to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for everything, at Judy Gold, JWDYGOLD, because I'm a Jew! Like Judy. Anyway, if you're still listening, I love you more than anything. And I will bring up your name as soon as I have time to look you up. But I thank you all for the love and support. And have a great week. And as we always say, so long!